Hi everyone, so we're going to keep reading. Stella Diaz has something to say, and if you guys see, we're on chapter 17, page 154, and we're actually going to be finishing the book this week. So it's going to be kind of exciting to see how Stella goes. We see that she's been she started off, the book with very antsy, with a lot of stress because her best friend wasn't in her class, and just like the whole idea of making friends was very scary to her. And now she's getting better, right? And even dealing with problems with her voice and just being able to speak properly. But we're going to be seeing how she's been growing and growing and growing, and how she ends up turning out, right? Because right now she's already grown so much, right? She's already grown so much. She's making more friends, and she's even now she got into a really high place in the spelling bee. So let's see what else keeps happening to her. But it's pretty fun to see how much she's grown and how comfortable she's getting, right? So we're gonna be starting chapter 17. Okay. I'm in the middle of reading about narwhals when Dad picks us up. The narwhal is a type of whale. People think it has a giant tusk, but it's actually a tooth. Narwhals are extra special because they are rarely seen. People tried to keep them in captivity in the 1960s and 1970s, but sadly they kept dying. I only see Dad once or twice a year, and this time it's right before spring break. He's in Chicago for a week with my tío Carlos. Apparently, they are going to some sort of convention for my tío's clothing store. When Dad arrives at our house, he's in a new car that I've never seen before. Dad always likes to drive instead of flying, so he must have gotten it back in Colorado. The new car is a sports car. You know, the ones that look like they go really fast. I'm used to this though. Every time I see him, it's a new car. As we put on our seatbelts, he says that he's taking Nick and me bowling. Cool, says Nick. I don't say anything. I've never been bowling before. I'm excited, but I don't know what to expect. As soon as we get to the bowling alley, Dad says to us, "You guys paying?" He laughs. I look over to Nick. He's not laughing. I know why, too. Since Dad never sends us money, we never know when he will actually pay for things. Mom knows this, so she always gives us extra money when we see him, just in case he makes us pay. Nick, it's a joke. Nick is still not laughing. Dad just shrugs. He goes over to the register. One adult and two kids. Dad opens up his wallet. I see a picture of Nick when he was little. Then I see a picture of a baby. Who's that? I ask, pointing to the picture. You, he says. I'm a little surprised. Really? See, it's you. From your first passport picture before we moved to the United States. Vamos, let's get some zapatos on your feet. Apparently, you can't wear regular shoes on bowling lanes. You have to borrow these really cool shoes that are colorful. I put them on. I think I might like bowling, I say to Nick. I kick my heels together like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Let's go, Twinkle Toes, Nick says. We walk over to the lanes and Dad enters our names into the computer. Then he hands me a few different balls to find out the one I can bowl with. I find a bright orange one that I can actually carry. Señoritas primero, says Dad. I like it when Dad says girls go first. Nick blows a raspberry. I'm all smiles until I walk towards the lane. The floor is slippery and I get all nervous trying to lift the ball. It feels too heavy. What do I do, Dad? I ask. It's not rocket science. Just roll the ball, says Nick. I turn roja. This time I'm angry. Just because I'm new to something doesn't mean I'm stupid. I wish that I were a narwhal right now so I could poke Nick with my giant tooth. Instead, I stick my tongue out at Nick. Then I roll the ball. It goes nowhere near the white pins. So here's the bowling, right? Here are the white pins. In fact, my first two balls go right into the gutter. Nick goes next. He is much better than me and knocks a few pins over. Dad is really good. He knocks over all the pins. I don't know much about bowling, but he kicks out his leg like a professional. Dad, how come you're so good? I ask. Well, I used to go bowling a bunch when I was a teenager. He reties his shoe and looks at me. I wasn't very close to my parents. They were more concerned with their parties than with your tío or me. Once I no longer had a nanny, I spent all my time with my friends bowling or playing pool. I feel sad for a second. I never thought about Dad as a kid. It sounds kind of lonely. I love spending time with Mom and Nick. I look at him, I say in Spanish, Dad, could you teach me how to bowl better? Claro que sí, mi amor, Stella. Of course, my love, he says. He shows me how to line up my feet with, let's see, with little arrows first. Next, he shows me how to swing my arm better and finally to let the ball roll. When I do it by myself, the ball goes slower than it did before. But it's going straight down the middle. I actually knock over some pins, almost all of them. Way to go, Stella, says Nick. He gives me a high five. Dad kisses the top of my head. I smile. For a moment, I miss having him around. After we finish bowling, Dad drops us off at the house. Before you go, he says, grabbing a box from the back seat, here are new coats for the two of you. I see the tags. They are from my Theo's store. Dad gives Nick and E each a coat. I try mine on. It's too big. It's also pink with fur. I like pink, but a whole pink coat is too girly for me. Still, I say gracias. I look over to Nick and I giggle. His coat is way too small. It's so tight around his shoulders he can't even put down his arms. Oh, I guess you grew more than I realized. You're going to be as tall as your uncle. Nick just shrugs and hands him back the coat. I'll mail you a new one, Dad says. Nick looks at me. We both know that's never going to happen. I give Dad a hug goodbye. I feel a little sad again. But my dad is not all terrible. He just doesn't know better. It's like the people who used to hunt narwhals. People used to think that narwhals were related to unicorns. They didn't know they were regular sea mammals and weren't magical. I think part of Dad just doesn't realize he's not doing a good job at being a father. Then again, I don't think he knows how. It doesn't sound like he really had great parents. Nick and I are lucky because at least we have Mom. Nick puts his arm around me as we go back inside our house. As we open the door, I smell something wonderful. Mom is in the kitchen making albóndigas again. I run into the kitchen and hug her tightly around the waist. Whoa, Stella, you surprised me. I look up at her. I love you, Mommy. I love you more, she says, and she hugs me back. There you go. See, there's her mom with her little apron. She's cooking. And I wanted to show you guys some of the pictures. So there is Stella with her dad, right? And he's teaching her how to bowl. So in this chapter, we get to see her relationship with her dad, and she actually gets to go out with her dad, right? So it's Stella, Nick, and her dad, and they go bowling. So because he's in town, he's like, you know what? I want to pick you guys up. Let's go out. And they actually go bowling, right? And her dad's actually pretty good because he says that he used to do it a lot as a teenager because he was alone a lot of the time. So, and then Stella's, she's wondering, like, she never really thought about that her dad had it hard as a kid too, So now, but now she realizes that although her dad is sometimes a little absent or he's not there, right, that she is lucky to still have her mom with her all the time. So we see at the end, that's why she goes up to her and gives her a big hug because she's grateful, right? So we'll see what keeps happening.